The planet was designated X-17b, a barren, hostile world located on the fringes of galactic space. On paper, it was classified as a death world: harsh environments, aggressive predators, and toxic flora. However, the dominant native population, known as humanoids, was considered primitive, barely capable of tool use, and thus irrelevant to intergalactic politics. The Ragmar Syndicate, a notorious group of alien mercenaries, received a lucrative contract from an anonymous client. The mission? Retrieve a mysterious artifact buried deep within the jungles of X-17b. The briefing described the native humanoids as harmless and incapable of organized resistance. The 12-strong team of mercenaries, composed of hardened veterans from various species, laughed off the warnings about the planet. To them, it was just another job. They were well-armed, equipped with advanced technology, and battle-hardened from countless missions across the galaxy. They were unprepared for what awaited them. Chapter 1. The landing. The mercenaries landed in a clearing surrounded by dense jungle. The air was thick with humidity, and their sensors immediately detected traces of toxins in the atmosphere. High-pitched cries echoed through the trees, and the jungle seemed alive, teeming with motion just out of sight. "Keep your weapons hot," growled Torvak, the towering reptilian leader of the group. Deathworlds always have surprises. Their advanced scanners quickly mapped out a path to the artifact's location, a few kilometers away. As they moved through the jungle, the mercenaries were confident in their superior technology. Camouflage shields shimmered around them. Their weapons bristled with plasma rounds, and their drones hovered above, scanning for threats. But the jungle had its own eyes. Unbeknownst to the mercenaries, the humanoid inhabitants of X-17b were watching. They had observed the alien intruders from the moment their ship entered the atmosphere. Primitive? Yes. Harmless? Not even close. Chapter 2. The first encounter. The first sign of trouble came just an hour into the mission. The mercenaries' path was blocked by what appeared to be a simple pitfall trap. The first sign of trouble came just an hour into the mission. The mercenaries' path was blocked by what appeared to be a simple pitfall trap. The mercenaries froze. The trap wasn't random, it was engineered, precise, and deadly. Torvak barked orders, pulling the team into a defensive formation, eyes open. These natives aren't as dumb as they look. Moments later, a humanoid figure darted through the trees, almost too fast to track. One of the mercenaries fired a plasma shot, only for the figure to vanish into the foliage. A chilling howl echoed from all directions, answered by more cries. They weren't dealing with a single native. The jungle fights back. As the mercenaries pressed on, the jungle seemed to close in around them. Every step they took was met with resistance. Vines dropped from above, wrapping around their limbs with alarming strength. Camouflaged pits opened beneath their feet, and strange insects swarmed their exposed skin, injecting venom that burned like fire. Two more mercenaries fell before they reached the artifact's location. One was dragged screaming into the undergrowth by a native humanoid wielding a jagged spear. Another was killed by a swarm of tiny, bird-like creatures with razor-sharp beaks. "We should pull out," muttered Yelkar, the group's tactical officer, his voice tinged with fear. "This isn't worth the pay." But Torvak refused. "We don't retreat. Not from primitive, the artifact be nightfall." The mercenaries finally reached their destination, a massive stone structure buried deep in the jungle. The artifact rested atop an ancient altar, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. "Secure the perimeter," Torvak ordered. "We'll extract it and get out of here." But as they approached the altar, the humanoids launched their final attack. Dozens of them emerged from the shadows, their bodies painted with vibrant, warlike patterns. They moved with uncanny coordination, exploiting the jungle's terrain to outmaneuver the mercenaries. The fight was brutal and chaotic. Plasma bolts lit up the night, but for every humanoid that fell, another seemed to take their place. The mercenaries' numbers dwindled as the natives overwhelmed them with sheer ferocity. Torvak managed to grab the artifact, but the moment he touched it, a deafening roar echoed through the jungle. Then the ground shook the apex predator. From the darkness emerged the true guardian of the artifact. A towering, six-legged predator covered in obsidian-like scales. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural intelligence, and its movements were impossibly fast for something so large. The mercenaries opened fire, but their weapons barely scratched the creature's armor. It tore through their ranks with terrifying ease, crushing and mauling anything in its path. Torvak and the last two surviving mercenaries fled into the jungle, leaving the artifact behind. But the predator was relentless, pursuing them through the trees. One by one, the mercenaries fell until only Torvak remained. Bleeding and exhausted, he stumbled into a clearing, only to find himself surrounded by humanoids. Torvak dropped his weapon, realizing the futility of resistance. The humanoids closed in, their eyes gleaming with a mix of triumph and curiosity. They didn't kill him immediately. Instead, they dragged him back to their village, where he was imprisoned. Months later, when the Ragmar Syndicate sent another team to investigate the disappearance of their mercenaries, they found nothing but wreckage and overgrown jungle. The legend of X-17B grew, and it became known as a place where even the most dangerous mercenaries dared not tread.